Welcome to this edition of Unity. I am here with Cherise Carney Nunez. She's an independent author, and it is such a pleasure having you on the show.
Thank you so much for having me.
Yes. Tell us about some of your titles that you have.
Okay.
Book titles that you have.
Well, I have 4 titles. My first title is Songs of a Sister Mom, which is a book of motherhood poems. And this is really close to my heart because it was the first book that really got me into writing again. I call it the beginning of my writing renaissance. And then that kind of spurred on the other books that I have, and I went from there from publishing poetry to publishing children's books. And so from Songs of a Sister Mom, I published the book Nappy. Nappy is actually a poem that is in Songs of a Sister Mom, and it took on a life of its own. So I would go out and I would do spoken word all over Washington, New Jersey, New York area, and there was something about this poem Nappy that just really took on a life of its own, and so I decided that it needed a life of its own, and so I turned it into a children's book, Nappy, and this was just really has done well. I'm actually in my 2nd printing of Nappy.
Wonderful. Now, this one won an award, did it not?
Yes, it did. It won first place, independent publisher, and it's nicknamed the Ippy Award, but it was the most outstanding book for youth or something like that. Or most inspiring book for youth, I think.
Excellent. Yep. Okay. And this one?
Then after doing Nappy, I had the opportunity through an organization that I work with called the Jamestown Project. Through the Jamestown Project, we were doing some work with Tavis Smiley and the Covenant with Black America, which is the best-selling, New York Times best-selling book. We were actually taking the covenant and trying to figure out how to operationalize it or how to move it into action and actually make the issues that were set forth in the covenant real. So we were actually working on a book called The Covenant in Action. Because of my work with Nappy, and of course because I'm a mom, I got the idea to how can we make this real for children? And so while I was spending time working on the grown-up project, I said, you know what? I really want to take those principles that Tavis Smiley set forth in the Covenant with Black America and really make them real to children so that they can understand these big issues like education and healthcare and the environment, democracy, criminal justice, and really figure out what do those issues mean to them as children, and what can they do? What can they actually do in their own homes, in their own school, and in their own communities to make those issues real and to actually do something about them? So that's what this book is. It's called I Dream for Your World, A Covenant for Our Children, and
What's the age range on that one?
The age range on this, and really all of my books, if I'm forced, I say elementary, but it really spans across all ages, because in this book, like in all of my books, I kind of start with
It's in a simple language
very simple language that children can understand, and then using poetry and art. And then in the back of the book, I always add this additional content that if you have a younger child, you can work with the younger child on the meaning of everything, or an older child could actually do this work independently.
I see. Beautiful.
Yep.
Okay, now we're going to talk about one of my favorite books, I Am Barack Obama, and I thought it was just phenomenal. I cried when I read it the first time.
Thank you so much.
I cried again the second time, so please tell us about I Am Barack Obama.
So, I Am Barack Obama is really not about Barack Obama. It is about him, of course. It tells the story of his life, but it really uses poetry and art to tell the story of his life, and it really focuses on children, and it focuses on Barack Obama as a child growing up, as an ordinary child growing up, asking who will change the world, and ultimately realizing that it's him. He will change the world. And so it really shows him in this inspirational light that children can understand and kind of see through, so that they will understand that they too have the power to change the world.
this story kind of has a little meaning with your daughter.
Yes,
right?
yes.
Talk about that.
So Nappy is a story I wrote about doing my daughter's hair. Actually a poem, again, about doing my daughter's hair. And it starts as she thought it was a bad thing to get her hair done. She hated getting her hair done. She was, as we say, tender-headed. And so she was running out the chair, running under the table, screaming, ouch, mommy, no, no. And so one day I just didn't know what to do anymore. And so I just, so often when I don't know what to do, I just write. And so I wrote a poem. And I said, well, you know, yes, your hair is run out the chair nappy and break the comb nappy. Scalp just can't bear a nappy. But you know what? God didn't give us nothing we couldn't handle. And so then I tell her that her hair is actually back of the bus nappy, it's Underground Railroad nappy, ain't I a woman nappy, and just really call forth these images of strong black women with strong hair like hers who came before her. And then the moral of the story is that God didn't give us nothing we couldn't handle. And so the idea is, of course, to relate the strength of our hair to the strength of black women in history with hair just like ours who came before her. Okay. And to let her know that God didn't give her nothing that she couldn't handle. And then in the back of the book, I take those women because I didn't really feel like it was enough to just call forth the names of these women, but I wanted to really dig deeper. I didn't want her to just know the name of Sojourner Truth or Mary McLeod Bethune. I wanted her to really understand what it was that made these women special, what it was that made these women strong, why these women are my sheroes. And so we do hand-drawn sketches and biographical sketches of each of the women. There's 10 women that are mentioned in the poem, and I call these my nappy ladies.
Yes, Angela Davis, Jornell Hurston, Ella Baker, Josephine Baker, beautiful, my favorite, Harriet Tubman.
And what I did also is I included stories about these women that may not even be the stories that we were already familiar with. And when I have gone on school visits, I often find that principals, teachers tell me that I'm teaching them something new as well.
Good, and it gives the kids a starting point to research and find out more about those women in the back of the book.
Yep.
So wonderful.
Thank you.
Now back to I Am Barack Obama.
Okay.
So you have an interesting relationship with Barack Obama.
Yes.
Tell us about that.
Yes. Well, it's right here. I actually went to law school with Barack Obama. And this is a picture of us together in 1991, the spring of 1991. And we went to Harvard Law School together, and he was so inspiring then, as he is now. Now,
writing is more than a notion, and being a successful independent writer, I'm sure a lot of people are always asking you, you know, what does it take to be successful, and how do you publish a book? So what do you say to those people?
Well, first of all, let me just say I'm so thankful that anyone is interested in anything that I do, because this is something that I really do from my heart, and so it's fun to me, and I'm trying to actually turn it into something that is a business and can bear fruit. But in terms of what does it take or what are the steps, I really just don't even have the capacity to answer all of those questions for people. So what I did was I created a spot on my website, so I send people there. My website is www.brandnew, for Nunez, brandnewwords.com, and so I send people to my website and I try to answer their questions, because really there are a whole host of resources on the internet to help people who are interested in publishing their own books. There are also lots of books out there. I actually took a course given by a local DC author, Kwame Alexander. So there are just a whole host of resources that one can find on their own.
And one of his resources was Do the Right Thing, W-R-I-T.
Yes, Do the Right Thing. It's an excellent, excellent book. I highly recommend it. It's called Do the Right, W-R-I-T-E, Thing. And it's a great resource. Who will grab the sun and make it shine through all our blues? Who will chase the storm clouds to the brightest rainbow's hue? Who will wrap the earth, my child, in all that's good and true? Who will change the world, my child? It's you. Oh yes, it's you.